I want to share a couple of thoughts about the value of interrupting patterns. Just for context, I often talk about intuition as pattern recognition, right? That acknowledgement that I should go left and not right. Well, I want to kind of switch up that conversation about patterns and talk about the value of interrupting patterns. And I was really inspired in a recent conversation I was able to observe and participate in with Gary Vaynerchuk, who he and his team at Vayner Brands, Vayner Media, are excellent at all sorts of commercial development and ad development. And we've just come out of the Super Bowl era, period, excuse me. And one of the great things about really good brands and good advertising is that they surprise us because they interrupt a pattern. And I'll go back really way back historically when Apple was first coming onto the scene, and there's that scene where the woman is running through an auditorium of suited up folks, and she's a woman with her hair flowing wild, and she throws an axe into the screen, and she's literally showing that she's disrupting and interrupting the status quo. So great brands, great messaging is effective at interrupting the patterns that we expect. And what I want you to think about are number one, in order to interrupt a pattern, step one, you've got to identify what is the current status quo pattern. And then you got to think about how you might interrupt it from three dimensions: from the dimension of people, process, or place. Could you introduce different sorts of people into the scenario to interrupt what people are expecting? Could you introduce a very different type of process, zig where others zag? Could you monetize it differently? Could you start to give it away? Could you make it premium instead of really, really cheap? And then in terms of place, could you totally shift up and turn around the context of where and how we see things? So just want to share those thoughts today about the value of interrupting patterns to start to speak more loudly above the fray and the noise. It always goes back to your ability to observe and then offer up something new. So don't be afraid to interrupt those patterns.